Hey everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Ryan Roots. I'm a full-time online reseller. I have been for the past 10 years, and one of the main platforms that we sell on is eBay. So in today's video, I just want to give you some tips and tricks on how to improve your eBay sales. How you can tweak just a few things here and there that'll lead to more eBay sales. And just a little bit about myself. Like I said, I've been a full-time reseller for 10 years. We've done over 22,000 sales just on our main public eBay store. We've sold millions of dollars worth of product online. This is our full-time job. And I say that not to brag or boast. There is a lot of advice out there on eBay, and unfortunately sometimes it's coming from people that haven't done it themselves. So I just want you to know that I've been doing this for a very, very long time. When I tell you a piece of advice on eBay, it comes from experience, not just from hearing something from somebody else. And also, we make a lot of videos like this on YouTube. We have over 1,000 YouTube videos that you can go back and watch and learn from us. So if you're interested in reselling at all, if you're interested in how to sell on eBay and make more money on eBay, please feel free to subscribe to our channel and watch some of our other videos and our future videos. But the one thing that I do ask while you're watching today's video is if you learn something new, very simply just hit the thumbs up button. I don't want any money from you. I just want your support, and you can show us your support by just hitting the thumbs up button on this video. Okay, so this is going to be a mixture of advice. The first thing I want to do is jump over to eBay's best practices. So eBay has an article called How to Improve Your Listings, and we're going to go through. They have 11 different ideas on how to improve your listings, which should lead to more sales. In addition to this, I'm going to mix in a couple other things that we've learned over the years that have helped our eBay store get more sales. So it's going to be a mixture. It'll probably be about 15 different things. So again, hopefully this helps you improve your eBay sales. But let's jump right into it. Let's get over to this. How to improve your listings. This is directly from eBay. So you know, if eBay is telling you how to improve your listings, they are probably onto something. They want listings on their website to be, done the right way so that items sell. The more items that sell on eBay, contrary to popular belief, eBay does want us to sell stuff. The more items that sell on eBay, the more money eBay makes, the higher their stock value goes, the more revenue the company brings in, and everybody's happy. So, how do you improve your listings? Number one that eBay has on here is choose the right category. When you select the right category, that can be the difference between making a sale and a buyer missing out on your item. This one's very, very simple. I mean, if you're selling a t-shirt, don't put it in the women's dresses category. If you're selling a dog toy, don't put it in the kitchenware, home appliances category. eBay also says, and adding a second category can help your listing reach the right customers. So it does cost money to add a second category. eBay loves money. That's why that's in there. You don't necessarily always have to add a second category. 99% of the items that we list in one category, just the primary category. If you want to add a second category, you can. It will increase the views, obviously, on that item because it's in multiple places on the eBay website. But like I said, that does cost more money. So just make sure you're listed in the right category. The next thing, this is probably, in my opinion, this next one is the most important thing when you're listing something on eBay, which is create effective titles. So eBay says to begin your titles with relevant keywords and then organize them in a readable, logical order. Don't use acronyms like new in box. Buyers may not understand those acronyms. Avoid words in all caps or characters like asterisks unless they're part of your product's name. So eBay has said this for a very long time. Don't put all caps. You can capitalize the first letter of each word in your title, but doing all caps, sometimes people are like, well, I'm going to make my listing stand out. I'm going to put all caps, or I'm going to, list from my phone and put an emoji in the title. eBay is at its very heart, it's a search engine, kind of like Google, right? So eBay has an algorithm that crawls its website. Let's say if I go to eBay and I'm looking for a pair of Jenko jeans and I type in Jenko jeans, if that's not relevant in your title, if it's not the first thing that eBay's algorithm is crawling, if it's way later in your title, other listings might show up before your listing. So you have to think of eBay as a search engine, kind of like Google. Also, eBay's listings go into Google, so you want it to be read like a search engine. You want your relevant keywords first. That's the first thing that you want. So here are some examples of perfect titles that eBay gives. Lululemon, cashmere sweater, medium blue, men's v-neck, new, long sleeve. Good title. Nothing wrong with that. Women's Astros jersey, fits small, medium, pink, striped polyester, vintage, 80s retro. That's fine. One thing that I will say is like that second title there, sometimes it's also about knowing your customer base. So if you look at that one, at the end of the title, they put vintage 80s. Typically, we would put the vintage first, like I would probably call that vintage 80s women's Astros jersey. And that's only because knowing our customer base, because we've sold, vintage clothing for a long time, knowing our customer base, they're searching for the decade. They're not just going and searching women's Astros jersey. They're searching vintage 80s women's Astros jersey, if that makes sense. So they're searching vintage 90s. We've had better success with putting with vintage clothing, putting the decade first. But again, we're definitely not doing all caps. We're not doing emojis. We're making sure our title is relevant, and we're also trying to use the whole title. So we would never just list something as vintage 80s Astros jersey and then leave it at that. You want to fill it up with other relevant keywords. Again, like the size and color and what it's made of and all that good stuff. I believe you have 80 characters on eBay for the title. Use as many of them as you can. Next up is item specifics. Use accurate item specifics. When you select item specifics for your listings, provide as many recommended item specifics as possible and choose from the options we provide. So yes, I agree with this one. You want to fill out as many item specifics as you can. I wouldn't take an hour trying to do a listing on eBay. Most of the time, if you're doing sell similar on an item, a lot of those item specifics get preloaded up anyway. So just make sure they are correct. Make sure you're loading the main item specific, size, color, stuff like that. But again, I wouldn't spend too much time loading up the item specifics that are very rarely searched for on eBay. Use product identifiers. Provide more details for your items to get more accurate pricing guidance and help buyers find your listings. Product identifiers include brand name, global trade item number such as universal purchase code, UPC, or ISBN number for like books and stuff like that. Let's say you're selling a new item, brand new in the box, and it has a UPC number. I don't know if there's anything over here. Yeah, so like this has a UPC number on the back. You'd want to type that UPC number in there because sometimes people do search by that UPC number. Or I've been like at a store before and I'll scan the back of something using eBay's barcode scanner. I'll scan the back of it to see how much it costs on eBay. And if you scan a UPC barcode, at a store or something, it only searches by that UPC number. So if that UPC number isn't somewhere in your listing, specifically that, UPC spot, then it's not going to pop up. So if that is relevant to your item and you know it, then include it in the listing. Write clear descriptions, include detailed product descriptions with brand name, styles, and model numbers. This is becoming less and less because item specifics is there. Just keep your item descriptions clean. It doesn't have to be something super long. You can use like the eBay AI product descriptions and tweak it so that it makes sense. But you don't have to write out a whole life story on the item. A lot of people aren't even clicking into the item descriptions these days. They're just looking at the title, the condition, and the pictures and making a purchase, especially from mobile. You have to click into the item description to even see all that. So you don't have to tell your whole life story. You don't have to go in and be like, hey, no returns. You're not allowed to, I will, leave negative feet. So that used to be a thing on eBay. People would like go off in the item description. That's like, if you try to scam me, I'll find you and I'll track you down. And you know what I mean? So you don't have to do that. Clean, easy item description and just move on. Now, use quality photos is their next tip. This is as important, I think, as the title, maybe more important because people eat with their eyes, as they say. It's the first thing they're looking at, right? So high quality pictures boost your customers' confidence in your listing. Follow our photography tips for inspiration and help. The tips that I can give you, use 1:1 aspect ratio. You can, if you're using like a cell phone or something, you can switch it over. You want nice square pictures for eBay and for Google Shopping because it goes into that too. But clear backgrounds. eBay does have a background removal tool, which works okay. There are other apps and services like Canva. Canva is free. You can go to Canva. They don't promote us at all, but you can go to Canva and their background removal tool is way better than eBay's. So you can go there, remove backgrounds if you want to, and then take those pictures and download them, then upload them to eBay. But yeah, I mean, most cell phone cameras are perfectly fine for taking pictures for eBay. You can use like an actual, DSLR camera if you want to. Some people like to do that because it's not connected to the internet. And sometimes if you're taking pictures with your cell phone, you can get distracted and easily go to, TikTok or Instagram or something. But like I said, most modern cell phones take pictures that are high quality enough for eBay. Okay, so eBay's next tip is choose the right listing format. Decide whether auction style fixed price is right for you. the majority of what we do as resellers is going to be buy now with best offer turned on. So there's the first tip that I can give you from us, which I don't know, is it in here? Oh, it is in here. It's coming up. But that is a tip that I would give, is to allow offers on your items. Even if you don't accept offers, eBay, direct from eBay, has said that having best offer on your item increases visibility of your item. So if you're declining every single offer that comes in, fine. But having it on will put your item in front of more eyes than having it off. Same thing with returns. Here's another tip that we can add, which I don't think is in here. But a very big tip that I can give you is have a return policy. Doing no returns on eBay doesn't make sense. It has never made sense. I know there are sellers out there that have no returns switched on and they still make sales. They still do well, which is totally fine. I get it. But not having a return policy on doesn't really matter on eBay, because a buyer can still open an item not as described case, even if you have no returns on. They can still open an item not as described case and they can return that item. So offering some sort of a return policy does make sense, and it definitely gives the buyer more confidence in buying your item. And it does give you a boost in search as well. But think of it this way, right? If you're a consumer and there are two listings for the exact same item, the one that I have listed has a free 30-day seller paid return policy. We both have the exact same feedback, but mine has free returns, and the one next to it, same price, by the way, same exact price, and the one next to it does not allow returns. Which one as a consumer are you going to feel more confident purchasing? The one from the seller that stands behind their product and says you can return it, or the one from the seller who says, get lost, you can't return the item? Makes sense, right? 9 out of 10 times, you're probably going to buy the one from the seller that has a return policy in place. And a lot of people are like, well, Ryan, don't you get a whole bunch of returns on eBay? And yeah, we get returns, but our return rate is less than 4%. So for every 100 items that we sell, less than 4 of them come back. And to me, that's cost of doing business, right? It just is what it is. We have a return policy in place. So we get the 4 items back, we check them, we refund the buyer, we re-upload them, and we resell them again. And yeah, maybe we lose a little bit of money and time on those 4 items, but our items sell faster. So have a return policy in place. Price competitively is another tip from eBay. Yeah, that that makes sense. So when we're pricing something, we don't just look at sold comps. You want to look at sold comps to see what stuff is actively selling for or what it has sold for, but you also want to look at what is currently on the market. Because if I go to, sold comps on eBay and I find an item that sold 2 months ago, it sold for $100, and then I just price my item at $100 without looking at what's currently active. There might be a couple hundred people selling the exact same item and they have it priced at $80, and now I've priced it at $100 and I'm just not competitive in the market, right? So you have to look at what is active on eBay, what is actively being sold on eBay, and then you also want to look at what has sold on eBay. And we usually just try to go like an average price, right in the middle, because we allow best offers as well. So if we list something for $90 and someone sends an offer for $80 and we take it, then perfectly fine. Only you know your margins. Only you know what you paid for the item. So you have to price it where you're comfortable with. You have to know what kind of offers you can accept. And then the next one on here is allow offers. There you go, from eBay, allow offers. I also think you should send out offers. So we send out offers. We batch send out offers at a percentage off. On eBay, it'll show you which items you're allowed to send offers to, and we'll click on 10 of them and send out a batch offer for 15% off or whatever it is. But we personally do that twice a day. When I wake up in the morning and before we go to bed at night, I batch send out offers on eBay. Optimize listings for mobile. eBay, if you're just using eBay's listing tools, it's pretty good already for mobile optimization. Again, just good pictures, write out clear descriptions and all that. One thing that I'll definitely say is eBay's gone away a long time ago. You used to be able to do full HTML, beautiful listings where you could code the whole back end of it, which we used to do this because it looked really cool. But you could code the whole back end of your listing and make it look like a storefront and do moving banners and all this crazy stuff. Don't do that anymore. Search engines hate that. It'll scroll through that and it'll be like, no one wants to see this. So, it's better just to keep it clean, simple, And the way that people like to buy in 2025 is they want to see pictures of the item, very clear, defined pictures, very quickly know what the item is and make a decision and move on with either a purchase, or they move out to somebody else's listing and they make a decision that way. That's also why when we're listing like clothing, which this is another piece of advice, when we're listing, like a t-shirt, for example, we include the measurements as a picture in the listing, not just in the description. We put it in the description as well, but we include it as a picture in the listing. So if people are just on their phone scrolling and going, oh, this is a size extra large, and I got to look and see what are the actual measurements, because not all XL shirts are the same measurements. So we put it in the listing itself so they can scroll over and, oh, there's the measurements right there. Boom. Make the sale. And then the last bit of advice that eBay gives is share your listing, which obviously eBay wants you to promote your items elsewhere off app or off platform so that it brings more people to eBay. I actually like this. I think, in the age of 2025, social media it's more and more a thing. And if you have a social media channel to share your listings on, that's great. I mean, there have been times where we have a cool item that we have listed on eBay and we just get the link, the direct link to the item, and we'll link it in our Instagram story. You can put a little button link in an Instagram story and we'll say, hey, this item's available on eBay. Here's a link to it. And then people will click on that link, takes them straight to eBay, and they can buy it. So you can leverage your social media, even if it's a smaller social media account, that's fine. But you can definitely leverage social media to make more sales on eBay. Okay, and then I just wanted to give you 4 more tips just from us that have helped us increase our eBay sales over the years. The first one is run a sale on your older items. So you can go to eBay and you can set a sale, a store-wide sale, and choose the items that you want to run or you want to put on sale. Usually we go to our eBay store and we'll take items that have been listed for a while. So let's say over 3 months, right? They've been sitting on eBay for over 3 months at the same price. We'll run a sale, maybe 20% off sale, and choose all the items that have been listed in our store for over 90 days, over 3 months. And all of those items will go at a 20% off sale. So again, only your margins, if you want to list stuff and let it sit for years and years and then wait for the buyer to come along, that's totally fine. We have a model that's like faster sales. We want faster sales. So we'll put our stuff on sale on eBay. It'll knock 20% off or whatever the sale is that we're running. It'll knock that off automatically. It shows on eBay with like a line through it. So was $100 / now $80. And we do get good sales from running store-wide sales on our items. So that's something you can definitely do to increase your eBay sales. In the same kind of aspect, sometimes we run auctions on our buy it now listings, on our older buy it now listings, just to clear them out, to get rid of them. So we'll take an item, again, that's been listed for a long time. This is usually after we run a sale on the item. If the item still hasn't sold, then we'll liquidate it and do an auction on that item, just like a regular 7-day auction, and we'll start it at a price that we're comfortable with getting for it. Maybe you made like a bad purchase back in the day. That's just a way to get the revenue back, get the item sold, run an auction, clear it out, get it sold, and get the revenue back, and then you can put that money to use elsewhere. 2 more tips. eBay loves an active store. We recommend listing at least 5 new items on eBay a day. Obviously, if you don't have the inventory to do that, I understand. But listing 5 new items a day at least shows eBay that it's a very active store, and they like that. They like to see a store that's active, not stagnant. So if you can list 5 items, new items a day, we're not talking about ending your old items and selling similar. I'm talking about 5 brand new things added to your store, building up your store base full of items. If you can do 5 a day, you can also batch list stuff. So you can take pictures of 100 things one day and then build your listings out on eBay and schedule them to go out 5 a day. That's totally cool. You don't actually have to physically list the 5 every single day. You can schedule them to go live, 5 go live a day. Like, we don't work weekends, but we can schedule listings out to go live on the weekends too. And then the last tip that I can give you is promote your items. We do standard promoted listings, so we usually promote at about 5%. So keep in mind, on top of eBay's fees, if it sells through a promoted listing, that 5% fee is added to that fee. So instead of, if you're paying 13% in fees and then a 5% promoted listing fee, now you're paying 18% total fees on that item. So just keep that in mind. Again, yes, your margins are going to go down, but your items will sell faster if you promote them. We don't promote everything. If we have like a very, very highly desirable item that we know is going to sell immediately anyway, there's no need to promote that and waste the money. But in competitive categories, like when we're selling vintage t-shirts or something like that, we're definitely promoting those items. And now eBay will actually show you like what percentage of items in that category are being promoted. So you can see like, okay, if I'm selling a vintage t-shirt, for example, and 63% of the items in that category are promoted, then, and I'm not promoting, now I'm struggling because all of these other people are saying, hey, we'll pay more money if you show our item to more people. And I'm saying, I won't pay you more money if you show my items to more people. So you have to compete. You have to be competitive. I know it sucks that eBay is, nickel and diming us and they're trying to make more money from us, but it's the platform that we choose to sell on. And in my opinion, I'll gladly pay eBay their fees because they have a built-in platform with millions and millions of potential buyers. If I was to go and say, start a website myself and try to drive traffic to that website, coming from someone who used to do that for a living, I used to own a search engine optimization and website design company, 2 of them. Doing that is very expensive. Companies pay thousands and thousands of dollars to drive traffic to their websites to get people to buy stuff. eBay has the customer built in. So I'll gladly pay them their fee when my item sells, not beforehand, but when the item sells, happy to pay eBay their fee. And that's just cost of doing business. So I'm glad that the platform is available, and you can make a lot of money if you do the right things. If you set yourself up the right way, you can make a lot of money selling stuff on eBay. So again, hopefully you picked up some tips and tricks from this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. I'm Ryan Roots, and I will see you on the next video. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.